Hello and welcome to Stage Matters, the podcast that gets right into the heart of what happens when artists take the stage. I'm your host, Arvind Murli, and it's great to have you with me. On this podcast, we are cutting through the noise to understand the true essence of what makes a performance soar, what challenges performers face, and how they consistently deliver those transcendent moments. I'll be chatting with amazing artists and performers, from seasoned veterans to rising stars, to hear their stories directly. We'll discuss the highs, the lows, the techniques, and the mindset that defines their approach to performance. If you ever wondered what it truly feels like to command a stage, or what goes into those breathtaking artistic moments, you're in the right place. Let's pull back the curtain and dive into Stage Matters. My next guest is guitarist and music producer Hrday Sunil. He plays for bands like Vihara and Arohana by Indosoul. Let's get right into it with Hrday. Hi Hrday.
Hi.
Thanks for coming and talking to me.
Definitely my pleasure.
So how has your experience of, or your understanding of what performance is evolved from the time you started to up to now?
I think for me, I'm kind of an introvert. So it was definitely a place that I'd rather not be. Like in the beginning, I thought it was a lot more inward. The experience was a lot more inward. It took me a long time to transition from my head going from just like me playing and to like being able to perceive the audience and like play off of them and what they were responding to, and like feeding off of their energy came a lot later. So I would say I think that's what it's come to now. After so long, it's basically come to a point where I'm able to enjoy myself on stage and really feel the audience's presence, and if they like something or whatever happens in the moment, I'm able to like come to terms with it and enjoy that as its own thing. Like before, I used to be very specific on like this is how a show should go, or this is how that entire thing should play out. But now I feel like it's a mix of what you're prepared for and then what happens eventually, and I think that's the beauty in it. Like for me, that's what performance is. It's like the spontaneity of the moment and your intention getting combined into something else. So,
do you remember like a performance you saw in the beginning that blew your mind and said, I want to do this?
Oh, for sure. I think for me, one of the earliest ones was, I think I went to Sarang, which is the IIT Madras Festival, and I saw Agam performing.
Okay.
And that really blew my mind. For me, they were one of the first bands that I was like, wow, this is something that I want to do. I just want to be on stage and want to create something like this, I didn't know it was possible also, because when I was growing up, most of the bands I was familiar with were from the West. And so I was seeing videos of maybe Led Zeppelin or Linkin Park or whatever, and they were doing that, but I didn't know it was possible here. And when these kind of bands came in, it really shook me, because I was like, wow, this is possible here as well. And for me to like go through that was great. Like that was one of my favorite experiences. Yeah.
Brilliant. Can you take me through your preparation process before a gig? Before a show? Yeah.
It depends on the show. So for gigs where I'm playing film music or already like released commercial music, it's more about trying to basically replicate that music in its best form. Sometimes we do arrange the music in our own way. So in that case, yes, learning the arrangements, the particular arrangements for the band I'm working in. But apart from that, if I'm just freelancing, most of the time it's like trying to replicate the music. So my preparation process would just be listening to the songs, trying to get them into my head, and then I'll go about probably charting them out and learning all the parts and going to rehearsal and all of that. When I'm working with my own bands, probably it's a lot more creative there. So there we kind of have the song as a skeleton, and we kind of work our arrangements around it, which is a lot more fun to me. And then for any of the artists the independent artists I play for, that's also really fun, because at that point I'm trying to like create my own guitar parts, and I'm trying to arrange the music as we go. And for me, that's really fun, because the other side of the other thing that I do is music production. So for me, it's like that part of my brain is kind of going into work there. So that's kind of my process generally. So I would start off listening to all these songs, and I'll just try to think what I can do with it. And that's my goal, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about other aspects of performance? Like, suppose you have a show today or tomorrow. Is there some kind of a diet or something that you don't eat, or you eat, or you don't drink, or you drink?
In terms of diet or food, not really. I just try to, whenever I'm traveling, I just tend to eat safe. So I try to like have really basic curd rice or something, because I don't want to deal with anything that happens when I'm outside of Chennai. So that is one thing. And I generally don't consume any alcohol or anything like that before a show. Like that, I don't condone it. I know people who do that, and it's their choice. I just don't like to do that. For me, it's something that I just want to make sure my performance, like I know what's going on in my head, and I'm physically present and mentally present in the best way possible when I'm performing. Like that's important to me.
Okay. We were talking about sound check, so let's talk about sound check. How important is a sound check to you, and what do you look for in a sound check?
Okay, so I would say sound check is very important, because I think that really has the power to dictate the nature of how your show goes. But I've learned to become less reliant on it. In the sense, before I was very scared about, especially in a transition to like in-ears, I was very scared about getting the in-ear mix right during soundcheck. And it's a process, right? And it's like everybody has to have the discipline of, playing their instruments when another person requires their monitor mix to be sorted. And I think you kind of need to get into the mentality of, I'm here to help move things along in the best way possible, in the most efficient way possible, rather than getting stuck on, suppose like maybe like I can't hear the bass enough or something, or like some little thing which probably is not going to bother me during the show. If rather than being very obsessed with it and trying to correct it and getting the mix engineer to do that, I think it's also good to consider your fellow bandmates' time and the fact that they also have to set up and they have to get their stuff done. So I would say I try to get a basic monitor mix ready, and I'm pretty happy with my tone, and I just, any minor inconveniences, I just try to like go with the flow. Yeah, move on with it, because I feel like, that's okay. Like eventually when you're going to start playing and like you're looking at the crowd and you're like vibing with your bandmates and all of that, like that's going to go out the window. Like you're not really thinking of that, I can't really hear like this guy's one keyboard part. No, right? I think it's important to just think about the band as a whole and kind of find your sound within that. And if you are set with that, like sorted with that, then you should be good to go for a show. So yeah, and also soundcheck is the place where most things go wrong. Right? Like
that seems to be the norm.
The norm, and honestly, to me, then that makes it like, now it makes it. It was very frustrating before. Now it's fun. Like in the sense, I don't know what a gig would be without things going wrong.
I actually enjoy sound checks actually.
Yeah, right? Like there's a cable doesn't work, DI box doesn't work, or something doesn't work. Without that, I mean, I feel like, like the problem solving aspect of your brain doesn't really get to you, So,
For the uninitiated, in-ears are like small earphones that performers use so that they can hear what they're playing and what the other musicians are playing.
Yeah.
So, how important is your gear and your equipment to you?
At this point, I think it's important in the sense that right now I'm using a digital platform. I'm using the Helix. And for me, the reason why it's important is that it's very reliable. And it's safe to say that I'm able to get a very close sound, like a consistent sound every single time. So which is why I just haven't, like, I own some analog pedals and all of that, but I just haven't gotten into that because I'm a little scared of what might go wrong, like, something blows up or some patch cable doesn't work or something.
Yeah.
So like we were talking about, like, things go wrong, right? So for me, I just want to make my sound check and my general show experience as convenient for me as possible, and I just want to try to get things out of the way as fast as possible. So right now, like my gear, my helix and my guitar, like I just try to make sure that my guitar is set up, it's playing okay, have fresh set of strings and all of that. And it took me a while to get to the current gear that I'm using, but right now I'm like at this place where I'm like, okay, this is it, like because I think all of us have that phase of we keep trying to acquire new gear, gear acquisition syndrome, right? So but at a certain point I think you should let that go and just focus on playing and getting the most out of what you have is something that's really important. So right now I'm really happy with whatever I have. It allows me to do whatever I need. It's pretty versatile. So it is important, but I would say if tomorrow, like, you gave me a guitar and some random app, I will try to make it work in whatever way I can. And I think that's kind of the mindset you need to have, is just try to make whatever you have work, rather than being very fixated on very specific things that you need in order to get a show done. So that would be my opinion on that. Yeah.
How much of a role does improvisation play in your work?
Quite a bit. Again, the percentage of it depends on the show I'm playing. Like I said before, if it's a like cover gig or what, like here they call it like playing originals. Yeah. In that case, not a lot because you are expected to play the arrangement note for note.
You mean when you're doing a commercial
show? Yes. But in the case of like the bands that I play for, like the arrangements that we have a room for improvisation in a lot of songs. So sometimes it might be that the arrangement itself or the structure is improvised, which happens a lot. Like especially when we're trying to do we have some songs where we do crowd work. So we try to get the audience to clap along. There are sections where we have like a drum solo or like a drummer and the mridangam artist have an exchange, and that kind of goes on for a long time. And so at that point we have a lot of free-flowing sections which are not maybe there's no time limit, right? And we're trying to get the crowd involved. So that's really fun, and that has a lot of improvisation in it. Other times when we're working with like backing tracks, it can be it can confine you a little bit, but even in that we have spaces for solos and we have spaces for things to happen. So yes, improvisation definitely happens. It's one of my favorite things to do. But also I feel like improvisation has its real meaning when the other structured parts of the song are done well, right? For me, like, it's a balance of both that makes it special.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beyond the skill and the technique, do you think there is something beyond that, like maybe spiritual or profound in a performance?
Yes. For me, yes. It's like for the longest time I was not very spiritual, but of late there are like, it's just because I've experienced certain performances that just kind of blew me away.
This is when you were playing or?
When I was watching people play. Okay. Sometimes very rarely when I've played with somebody and maybe something that they were doing was like so amazing. And for me, for the longest time I had like, or I still have that thing where I think most musicians, when we listen to a song, it's not like how a layperson listens to a song. We are kind of analyzing the song, and it's not a thing that you can turn off with a switch, right?
Yeah.
It's really hard to, like, you're noticing something. You're noticing how the drums sound, maybe the kick or the snare, or how the guitar tone is. Something, you're always noticing something and analyzing something. But once in a while there comes around like a song or a performer, and they stop your ability to be able to do that. And you're not able to analyze things anymore. And it kind of, for me, it just hits me like a wave. And I'm not able to think about, are they, like, how are they doing this? Are they, like, I'm not able to, like, put attributes to what they're doing. I'm just feeling at that point. It's like a emotional hit. And that's the thing that I feel like I've been trying to get back to. And that was the thing that got me into music. I think all of us, like before we picked up an instrument and started figuring out songs, the first thing was, how does this make me feel? And right now, when I feel that, like from somebody or from a performance or whatever, I feel that is something that is beyond skill or technique or whatever. It's pure artistry and it's something beyond. I can't explain it. I don't want to name it also.
I don't want to put words.
I don't want to put words to it. It's just something else.
How do you deal with like things when things go totally wrong? Anything, maybe mistakes that people make or something wrong in the venue, sound, something, speaker shuts off.
I feel the best way to deal with things going wrong, the first step is accepting it and not trying to fight it, like trying to look for the solution rather than fixating on that problem and trying to brute force things. Like if, for example, there is something wrong with the venue, and the thing is, like, things can go wrong at various levels, right? And it's not on one person's head that, you can just blame that one person, because, like, honestly, like, there's so many things, right? So when we go to a venue, a lot of times the stage hasn't been set up properly. But that's because maybe, like, somebody else messed up in the supply chain of things, right? So, or the power hasn't been set up, or it could be so many things, right? And maybe the mix engineer, he is not familiar with the console that he's working with, or maybe he asked for some other console and they gave him something else and he's not familiar with the one that he's working with that day. And you can't, like, I mean, it's a tough spot to be in. So I think the best thing you should do, like, or you should try to have, is empathy for the people that you're working with, and try to work together to fix the problem. Again, it's all of us against that problem rather than you are the problem, right? I don't believe in that mentality. So for me, when things go wrong, I just try to take like a very step-by-step approach of, okay, like, let's troubleshoot this systematically. So, like, for me, if it's my own gear, I have a way to troubleshoot it systematically. And by systematically, I mean trying to find the source of that particular problem. Whether, like, if I'm giving you like a small example, like this noise or something like that. So you want to start checking, like, the source of that, right? So maybe you start with your guitar, you start at the jack, and then go to the cable, then go to the processor, then go to so there's a way to, like, troubleshoot that signal chain, and that applies for everything else. It not just noise, anything else. Like, if like in your band or something, there is a general feeling of, like, or general lack of maybe the arrangements are not tight, or maybe the drummer and the bassist, or the drummer and the other percussion player, something, they're not, whatever they're playing is not working together with each other. So for me, the source of that problem is not that they're not playing right. It's a lack of communication. So identifying the source of whatever problem is probably the best way to get at it and, like, solve it, rather than trying to look at whatever it's caused and just take it for face value. I think that's the best way to go about solving things.
Are you able to think this rationally and clearly in the heat of the moment, in the middle of a show?
To be very honest, it's hard. I'm going to be honest with you. It's very hard. Especially, like, as I said, like, with context, when you're coming sleep deprived from another state and you're here and, like, that one DI box is not working. You're like, man, I don't want to deal with this right now. But lately I've been trying to keep calm. Like, nothing really gets solved when you get irritated or frustrated or whatever. There is no, like, it's much easier to solve things when you're calm and composed. And it's, again, like, coming back to it, it's acceptance. It's acceptance that things will go wrong. So when you're coming in with that expectation of things not like being perfect all the time, you're already like, okay, this is fine. And I think the one thing I wanted to say was, like, with live, a lot of it is about compromise. Like, I came from doing a lot of music production, and then I transitioned into the live thing more. And for me, in music production, especially, like, when we're putting out songs and that's going to be on streaming platforms and whatever forever, like, technically forever, for everyone to listen to. So everything that you're doing is, like, trying to get the perfect... micromanage, right? Get the perfect kick, the perfect snare, because this is going to be there forever. But the beauty about live is that it's a moment, and moments pass. And so I think for me to learn how to compromise what I wanted for that moment and what actually happened in that moment, and just reconcile both of them, is like the beauty in it. So yeah.
Okay, brilliant. How much rehearsal is too much? Is there something as too much rehearsing?
That's a very good question. I think the amount of rehearsal where you start getting in your own head about things is the one that's like the amount that's too much. Ideally, I would like to be in a place where I feel prepared, but
slightly on the edge. Slightly on the edge,
exactly. There was something that, like, when I was studying, so I was studying classical guitar, and my teacher, he pointed out something to me, and it was very interesting. So there was this piece that had, like, a really fast run or something like this, and, like, every day I just keep practicing that, because I'm just like, I want to get to a place where whenever this thing comes up in that piece, I don't want to feel scared or nervous about that happening. And I got to a place where I could play it pretty comfortably. And then he came and told me, now try to play it faster. And I said, but why? This is the tempo where it's at. Like, why should I? Like, I put so much effort trying to get this here and play it relaxed and play it with proper technique. And he told me, but it's not sounding like you could fail. And I feel like the beauty is the fact that when the audience feels like you're on the edge of your ability, and you know you're on the edge of your ability, but you somehow make it work, there's an extra magic to that, right? That's the thrill of, like, performing. And when it feels like, you know, it's really effortless and easy for you to do, somehow the thrill of that doesn't work. Like, if you see Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible, like, you know, like like doing every stunt with absolute ease and, like, as if he's, like, done it like 10,000 times before in his life, you're not going to enjoy that movie. But if you feel like he's going to die, then you're like, wow, this keeps me on the edge of my seat. So yeah, I would say have enough rehearsal to be prepared and competent, but also allow room for things to go in whatever direction.
How does your personal history and your identity inform your performance? Does it?
It does. In the sense, for me, my identity, like, in terms of, it's been a contradiction for me in terms of, I grew up here in Chennai, surrounded by all this film music, which is pretty much mainstream music here. But I never had an interest in it when I was learning my instrument. So when I was learning my instrument, I was listening to everything from the West. I was listening to Led Zeppelin or the Beatles or all of that. And that's pretty much informed a lot of my musical taste. And when it came time to work with artists from here, it took me so long to understand the references that they were talking about, because I just never dove in, like, you know, I just never got into the vocabulary of that music, the film music that they, like, it's always been around me, but it's not been in focus for me. And I would say now I'm at a better place when it comes to that. When somebody talks about, oh, this film in this part, there's this song, I want you to play something like that. I'm more likely to know what they're talking about, you know, rather than having to go to Spotify and be like, what is that? So for me, I was always disconnected from the musical culture here. I never got into Indian classical music, which I deeply, deeply regret. I really wanted I like now when I learn about it, especially from some of my friends who are really great at their craft, it's so intriguing to me. And it's something I try to continue to learn about now, and it's slowly seeping into my playing. Like I'm slowly trying to work my playing around that. I don't think at this point I can incorporate the musical vocabulary because this has been so much of my identity. But and I don't want to either, because I for a long time I was regretting the fact that I don't know Carnatic or Hindustani classical, and I don't know how to play that on guitar if I wanted to. But I'm okay with that now, because I'm like, this is how I play, and that's fine. Like this is where I learnt my stuff from. These are the artists I listened to and I learnt my stuff from, and that's okay. That's me, makes me. And if somebody else is listening to, they've all listened to like Carnatic compositions for most of their life, and that's their vocabulary. Let them be them, and I don't need to be that. They don't need to be me. And I feel like when we kind of come together, we create something that's, you know, more than the sum of its parts. So yeah, I would say definitely. Okay. I hope I understood your question.
Yeah. It's all there.
Yeah.
What about stuff like politics and societal issues? Do they affect your performing?
I've thought about creating songs which have political leaning.
No, creating songs is a different matter. I'm talking
just
about
generally,
do you carry it with you when you perform or play on stage?
To be honest, no. I'll tell you why I said that so bluntly. It's because for me, music has always been like a form of escapism from what's happening around, rather than like I know of like great acts that use music to kind of reflect on what's happening outside, like punk rock, like for example Green Day or something like that.
Rage Against the Machine. Yeah,
exactly, right? Like all of these have great political influences, and they have lyrics that still ring true today. Zombies, like so many bands that have lyrics that still apply to our time right now. For me, I feel like for me, music was a way to get out of reality for a bit, just zone out and like just chill, like not really think about all of this. And for that reason, I feel like I have not really tried to carry that stuff with me onto stage. I generally want to have those two things separate. Like that's my personal thing. I completely adore artists who speak out about things through their music and who carry that with them. For me, that like listening to that music is amazing. But for me to do that is it's a little too much for me to carry with me on stage, or even when I'm producing something or whatever. Like if I'm working with an artist, which I've done, I've worked with artists who've had maybe things that they wanted to say, and I'm happy to convey their vision, like do my best to convey their vision through the production of that song. But I don't feel like I would like me personally, I don't want to speak about it because it's a little too much for my head, for my creative this thing. Like I would rather escape from, like that's my gentle idea, is to create a safe space for myself when I'm producing.
What's the most challenging aspect of performing for you? And I'll add something to it. Is there something in performing that you don't like? Something you dread or don't like?
For me, the most challenging aspect is staying in the moment. There are some shows where it's really easy because you're having a great time, and all you want to have is that moment last a little longer. And there are shows where
you just don't want to be there.
Yeah, it happens. That happens. Or I would say you get so comfortable, or like maybe you've played that set like the 20th time now or 30th time now, whatever, and at that point you're trying to find what can I do new here, right? And sometimes it's easy to get a little bored and go into autopilot. Like, that's the thing I'm trying not to do, is go into autopilot. Because it's so easy.
Yeah.
Especially like when we have our muscle memory to just pull us through.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to improv bits or whatever, right? Like, it's so easy to not be intentional about what you're doing. Especially if you're taking a solo, it's so easy to just
Noodle.
Yeah. It's just so easy to like not try to create something, right? And also the worst way, I feel like, I think I heard somewhere somebody say, like, the worst way to try to play a great solo is like say that I'm going to go play a great solo right now and then like go for it. Like, you can't, like, that's not what happens. It's more about reacting to the moment as it happens. And for me, like, it's just trying to stay grounded and stay in that moment and try to create something on the spot, no matter how many times I've played that song before. You know? And also paying attention to my bandmates. That's super important as well, because it's so easy to notice when somebody is in, like, has stopped listening to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because listening to others in your band is very important.
It's extremely important. And that, like, you can easily understand, because the thing is, we're all having a musical conversation on stage. I would say it's like a performance is like what? It's like a musical podcast, right? Like, all of us just talking to each other but with instruments, and we're basically conversing and people are watching. And so if somebody is just zoning out and the rest of them are having a conversation, it's not really like, it's, you know. So for me, yeah, that is one thing. And about the thing that I dread on stage is...
Or don't like, dislike.
Dislike, yeah. Like, it ties into this. It's just, for me, I get into my head quite a bit. In the sense, I kind of become inward, or rather, I start thinking about things that are happening to me, and I kind of zone out other people, or zone out the audience. And for me, that's the main thing.
Things that are happening to you as in your like personal life or something? Or
no, not necessarily. It could be the fact that like, maybe I just feel tired, or I feel, because that happens a lot. You feel tired, or you feel like, you know, sometimes I felt like really dizzy, like, because maybe I didn't have enough food or something. And sometimes it could be the fact that maybe like it's a really challenging song and you're anxious about some one part, and it happens. And so you get into like trying to get things right more than just let the music happen. And for me, yeah, that was one thing that I really needed to let go of, which I am letting go of still, is a need to get things right and need to like be a perfectionist on every single thing. I'm like, okay, it's fine to just let that go. Actually, a lot of times performance becomes better when you let it go and just make peace with the fact that whatever happens now is going to happen now, and it's going to move. Like things will pass. It will pass, right? And yeah, that is the one thing that I dread, is just getting too caught up in myself or in my thoughts.
I just touched upon personal issues. So do they affect you while you're playing? Suppose you had something else going on in your life that is
so me personally, I've been I'm historically just known to compartmentalize everything in my life, like, very clinically. So I
seem very logical and rational.
I like, for me it's super, like, when it comes to like work, again, as I said, it was my escape, right? So whatever happens in my personal life, this is, when I come to this, I'm just like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. And this is actually, it's almost like that's what people, like, you know, for me, like, the advice I get most is like, you need to stop working to like run away from things like that you don't want to face. And that's what I do often, and I go crazy when I don't have work. And I think that's a normal thing for musicians as well. Like it's a lot of times, like, you know, when there are going to be dry months in a year, and musicians do get crazy in that time, right? Because you're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Am I ever going to play? Like, it's a common thought that happens to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's totally normal.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that it's fine.
Yeah. And I can tell you from experience that it never goes away.
It never goes away. Yeah, exactly. Because like you do think like, once I get to this level, like I will never have an off season.
Yeah.
It's maybe always there,
Yeah.
and it's okay. Like one, I want to, if I could digress from the question.
Yeah, please. That's it.
Like
it's your stage.
One of my friends told me something that I think their teacher told them is that like they were not getting shows or whatever, and I'm not a very superstitious person. Like as you said, I've been talking pretty logically, but something that their teacher told them was just when you don't have shows or when you don't have all of this, just spend as much time as you can with your instrument, right?
Yeah.
And just do it for that.
Yeah.
Don't do it for anything else. Don't do it thinking that, oh, I'm going to get shows, I'm going to do this. Just work on your craft.
That's actually good sound advice.
Sound advice. And he said that when you do that, like opportunities will present themselves to you. And I don't know how that happens, but it has happened to me. Like I could say I followed that advice and it has happened to me. There has been months where I was like, this month I'm not going to do anything. So I'm just going to sit here and just learn songs or like just get better at my instrument. And randomly out of nowhere, some person that, you haven't talked to in 3 years will call you for a show. And maybe that's proof of something or it's not, it's just coincidence. But I like to think that, there is something there.
I have a theory for this. I think like the time you spend, like when you get that sudden show after a long time, since you've been working on your instrument for such a long time, you're actually so good at that show that
yeah it could be it just could be that like that's cause and effect there. So definitely I feel that's a good explanation for it, and I feel like the universe also kind of presents you opportunities that you're ready for or you're able to manage, and if you're not ready for it, then at least it's at a point where you're able to grow from there. So I think the best we can do is just make ourselves ready or prepared.
Absolutely. Can you talk a little bit about how important is stage appearance, stage persona, and showmanship?
I'm the wrong person to ask.
Say I don't care. I don't care about all that. I'm just myself. I will wear black t-shirt.
So I was like this, okay, and I was very much reprimanded for that, in the sense that I didn't really think about it, okay, but then I kind of ended up starting to think about it. Because, and actually this is a very interesting conversation that I had with a friend recently. And so I think for some show or shoot or something, we had to all wear kurtas and ethnic wear and all that. And he was like, but I'm a part of this band and my individuality is that I wanna wear like some Hawaii shirt and baggy shorts and come. So why can't I do that? Like, let me be me. And I was like, yes, but like the song that we're trying to do and like the kind of entire like aesthetic of it kind of requires that we all do this. So again, it comes back to the question of individualism versus like what's good for the group, right? It's a very interesting thing. I for like right now I am at the point, and my opinion can change later, but right now I'm at the point where I feel like sometimes you kind of have to let go of like your individualism so that what you guys say as a band together comes out better. So if that requires you like go and buy some random color of attire that you'll never wear again in your life, sometimes you kind of have to do it, and it's okay because you're trying to work for the larger cause of things. And I think it's important, like when a band, when a audience comes and sees you as a band, they want to see you as a unit, right? Like imagine the players of the Indian cricket team were all wearing different things, right? Like maybe someone felt like wearing a hoodie or something, somebody felt like wearing, it doesn't really make sense, right? Like you want to have a sense of bonding and you want to have a sense of we're in this together. And that's what makes a band. And I feel like that's also why there are not so many bands right now, because we're hyper individualistic as a society right now. So I think...
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Like generally I feel like right now the way to go for music and artists is that, you know, you don't really see a lot of people coming together to make a musical project, but you see a lot of features on other people's songs. So it's like you keep your identity, but I will also keep mine, and we'll be part of something together. Versus, let's both come and compromise a little bit on your identity and my identity, and we'll make something together. That doesn't happen as often.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the role of an organizer or a promoter? What do you expect from them?
Okay. They have a very important make or break kind of role because I think all of us have a very love-hate relationship with organizers and promoters. We kind of need them to take care of the logistics of things very well so that we can do our part comfortably.
Very well, yeah.
Yeah, very well. When it becomes very apparent that they have not done their part, that's kind of the source of stress for a lot of us. It's like, oh no, they didn't inform this person that this is supposed to happen at this time, or the timings are all messed up, or accommodation is messed up, or whatever is messed up. It happens, and I feel like that's only just going to deter or degrade the final result, which is the performance, right? Because it's really hard for us to work on top of the thing that they run. So I would say working, it's really nice to work with people that you know are will sort things out for you, and people you've worked with before. I mean, honestly, they're the salt of the earth. That's great to have organizers like that. And when you don't have that, it can be incredibly frustrating. But again, like I said before, you just have to find a way to work with them and work things out. A lot of times it comes down to communication. The way a band communicates and the way they communicate, there's a gap in that language somewhere. A lot of times they don't understand what we need, and maybe to be honest, to give them the benefit of doubt, maybe we also don't understand the constraints they are under, right? Because they also need to think about a lot of other things. We are mainly trying to think about how do we get our performance to be the best. And I think if there was a way to just get organizers and musicians in the same room and just have a seminar or something and just hey guys, this is what we need from you and this is what we need from you, and just talk it out, that would be better. I doubt that'll ever happen. But yeah, I would say it's super important, and it's like a box of it's like that Forrest Gump quote, life's like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're gonna get. You don't know who you're gonna get that day for that gig, and
is there friction between bandmates, friction, ego clashes, all these things? Do they happen?
In a good band, there is there's a lot of it.
Okay.
That's my hot take on that. I would say for a band to be great, there needs to be that. I would say, and I'll tell you why. I've been in bands where there has been zero conflict or zero differences in ideas and all of that. And it's not that interesting. I feel like the final output is not that interesting in a sense. Also, when it's like that, it's generally, I feel like it's a sign of not that there are no differences in opinion. It's just that people are not feeling comfortable enough to express it to each other. I would say a healthy amount of friction is good, because that means people are able to be open with each other and communicate and say, hey, I didn't really like what you're doing here. Can we change it according to this? And most if the reaction is no, this is me, this is what I'm going to do, you can't tell me what to do, that's not healthy. But if it's okay, cool, tell me what you'd like, let me see what I can do with that. And maybe if it's not working, there's a lot of times where another instrumentalist might say, hey, can you try to do this on your instrument, coming from something that they do on their instrument. And your instrument sometimes just happens not to work in that way. For example, we play stringed instruments, guitar or whatever, and plucked string instruments. I'm not talking about bowed instruments. And we do have a limited amount of sustain. And there are certain things like that, right? So when suppose somebody comes, some person, like for example, board instruments, they technically have like, they can sustain a note forever, pretty much, right? And if they come and tell you, hey, like, can you play this for this long? But I'm like, I can't really, because like, you know, this is the limitation of my instrument. Then I think you just need to have a healthy conversation with them and be like, hey, it's like, this is how my instrument works, is the limitation of it, and that's why I can't do it. But you kind of need to have the patience to go through that with them and say that. And that leads to the best kind of output, because once you realize the limitation of other people's instruments and what yours can do in the context of other people's instruments, that's when you come together as a team. I have a funny anecdote. Like, so the thing is, in one of the bands I play for, so I'm not going to name any of these guys because I don't know if they want to be named, but the bassist has this really, he has this pet peeve against instruments having too much low end in them. For obvious reasons. It masks his thing in the mix, right? So what
Don't
he
tell
does...
me it's Pranav.
No, it's not. He's very nice. He's very nice. So every time during sound check, what he does is he'll finish checking his sound and he'll tell the engineer, so can you put a low cut on my keyboardist and also my guitarist? And we'll be like, bro, we haven't even done our sound check yet. Like, he'll EQ our instruments for us.
Okay.
And so I was like, dude, like, you know, I understand that, but you know what, if you told me what I need to do, I could just change my playing so that it complements you. So, and we had a conversation with him, and like, we did something really stupid in rehearsal. Like, we went to our keyboardist and got masking tape and we put it on the last few octaves of the piano, and we were like, we just wrote, don't play this. Right? And we did that as a joke. But actually, you know, that helps a lot. Like, when you realize, okay, there's a bass player to fill this role, you don't have to worry about it. You can it'll actually frees you up. You know, you think it's a limitation. Oh, I can't play these notes because, like, I'm going to clash with them. But no, actually, think of it as you have somebody carrying that responsibility. Now that allows you to be creative in so many other ways. So I would say, like, that kind of conversation really opens up things as a band.
For example, in jazz, people tell the guitar player and the piano player, don't play the roots.
Yeah, you guys play rootless voicing because there is a bass player to do that. And I think it's honestly the most constructive thing to have friction and have it resolve in a healthy way. I think that's the main thing. Like, any sort of tension, as in music, in life, right? Any tension that resolves right is valid. So
you were talking about having months where there is no work. So I just wanted to talk about money. We know it's like difficult for life of a performing musician. So how do you do it? How did you do it? Do you do the other things apart from music too?
Thankfully, I don't do other things apart from music. Although I would say if that's what had to be done, then I would do that. But I realized that you can't really pick and choose in this industry. Like, you kind of have to do, like, it depends on what position you're at. The position I'm in, I feel like I will try to do as much work as I can and not be super fussy on, you know, is this what I want to do with my life or whatever like that. And I think I also realized very early on that a lot of musicians operate in a system where it's like, this I'm doing, these projects I'm doing for money, and these projects I'm doing for passion, or like passion projects, right? And that's one way to make things work. You don't have to enjoy every single thing that you're doing. And I think the main like the first thing that you kind of realize, especially when you start doing this for work full time, is that it's not always going to be fun. When it was a hobby, like for me it was a hobby when I was in school, that's the thing that you do to get away from work. When it becomes work, your relationship with it changes drastically. Because it can also become source of stress, right? And the only way to like maintain a healthy thing with it is to have that detachment. And it's something I'm still figuring out, because there are months where I'm like, I don't want to do this, but I kind of have to. And like, I would be trying to look for other hobbies, like, you know, to get away from music. And I never would have thought that I would be in that place. But some months it's incredibly fulfilling. Where I'm like, I can't believe that I'm lucky enough to be able to do this for a living. And I would say the main way to make sure that, again, money, like, I'm a freelancer, the way that you make sure that you have what looks like a stable income stream. Again, every month looks different, because that's how freelance works. You don't have a fixed salary. So you can't really, like, somebody comes and asks me, hey, what's your monthly income? It's very hard for me to name a number, because I'm like, these months were great, this month was not that great, these months are okay. Over time, like, if you do it for like 2-3 years, you kind of see a pattern. Especially in the live industry, there's definitely a pattern that is dictated by certain things, right? So it can even be like, for example, like all of the wedding gigs that you do. So there is Hrday Masam here, which is, they don't basically start any auspicious or new things in that month, in that season. So it basically that leads to a drop in weddings, right? And so you see that pattern. And so you can start preparing yourself for like, okay, I know that this month is going to be a dry. So maybe I start saving in these months so that, you know, I can make it through here. And that's the kind of way to go about it, is just knowing, like, trying to find a graph of like what your year will kind of look like. And you don't know. It's like predicting a harvest. So I'm just trying to save accordingly and be wise with how you spend your money, I would say, is very important. Also, it's super important to have multiple revenue streams and try to acquire as many skills as you can. So I play guitar, but like, that's one thing I do. I also do music production. I have a recording studio. So that's one source of income. I also know how to basically, like, there's random things that you can do. Like, for example, like, somebody might send you a vocal file to Melodyne. And that's also work, right? And that's something I know how to do. So that'll help me through a month that doesn't have gigs or something like that. Maybe my work for that month is just recording, like, day in and day out. Like, I'm just recording some band or recording some artists or whatever. Or it could look like this, or it could be like I'm mixing a song for somebody or something like that. And all of these are skills that you acquire. And I think every skill that you acquire kind of makes you better at the other thing. It's all like, because once you start learning how to mix, then you're like, oh, now I understand how all these frequencies work together, and it kind of translates into your live aspect. When you learn production, that goes into your arrangement aspect when you're producing or like arranging a song. And the more you can acquire these skills, the more transferable they are also. And the more ways you have to basically make income.
Do you like do stuff like saving and investing for the future type thing?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So the thing is, like, that was also very important, because again, there is no, like, we don't have things, like, we don't have the benefits of a corporate job, we don't have insurance, we don't have all of that. So you have to take care of that, and you kind of have to be mindful of those things, like basically saving for the future. Super important, especially with live. I don't know, like, I mean, it, like, I'm able to lug my guitar and all of my equipment and all of that and do all of that at this age. It's great, but like, I already know people who have like back problems and all of.
Since you're saying this, do you do workout and stuff to deal with it?
I wish I did, honestly. I did some little bit in the middle, but honestly, like, I just don't know how to work around. Like
Because playing a 3-hour show is not like easy.
It's not easy. Like standing for 3
Holding
hours.
your instrument
Yeah. And like you, like coming back to the question when you asked how important is your gear to you, one of the main aspects like that I think about when I buy gear also is this: is just how am I going to take this on a flight? How am I going to carry this? Like, is it easy to? And I see a lot of guitar players right now like transitioning to smaller and more portable things, because eventually you kind of realize, okay, tone is one thing, but like, you know, you can get great tone anytime, but you can't get your back, you know, like not hurting at any time.
Well said, yeah.
So it's important. I would say that's more important than all of this, you know, is just making sure you're healthy and making sure you're able to. And the thing is, like you asked about working out and all of that. For me, personally, it's very hard to have anything be a routine, just because my weeks look extremely different every week looks really different, and my timings are all over like I had a session till 4 a.m. like yesterday. So like I'm already like, you know, I kind of woke up at noon and got ready and I came here, but tomorrow it might be like an early morning shoot or something like that. And so how do you deal with like, you know, when people have the ability to say, oh, I'll go to the gym at this time every week, or like these days in the week I'll go to the gym and I will do that or whatever. I am very like envious of them. I'm like, that's awesome, dude, because you have like time that you work and then you have time that you spend with family or recreational activities or workout or whatever. For me, it's like I wake up, I look at my calendar, I'm like, oh, this is what is there today, I will do this, and then it just goes off. So it's really random, and that took a little getting used to, like just how random your life is. Like,
okay. So you don't have a practice routine either?
Right now I don't have a routine.
Okay.
I used to have a very strict, like when I was doing the classical guitar thing in college, so I was doing a very strict routine. Like it was again very geared towards that.
Okay.
I would not say that like it was like, you know, PIMA arpeggios and whatever. When I got into performing, and that's something that you realize is like when you get into performing, you practice less. And there's a definite difference between playing and performing. Like it's not the same thing. People like
you mean practicing and performing?
Yeah, like people like have told me like, oh, but you play every day, that means you are practicing, no? Like you're maintaining. No, you're not. Because like that, like you're supposed to suck when you practice.
Yeah,
that's how you know you're doing it right. Is that because only then you're like growing. You're supposed to do things that you can't do. If you keep doing the things that you actually can do and get paid for, that's performing. That's not really you growing as in. So for me right now, practice looks a little bit different. It's not, I'm not going and playing my scales or arpeggios or something like that. But for me, practice is like now hearing a guitar part that I like and picking that up. And for me, it's a lot of transcribing, I would say. Like listening to songs that I like, and I'm like, oh, I really like how this guitar part locks in with the drums. And I want to figure out how I can do that in another song. In a different context. Like try to take a concept and try to internalize it so much that tomorrow when I play somewhere else, it'll come out through me and I'll be able to use that somewhere else in that context. That's what practice mostly looks like now. And for me, that's a little bit more useful than running my scales every day. I don't want to say that that's not important.
The scale police.
Yeah, exactly. Like for all the people who are like, you know, alternate picking masterclass or whatever, great, awesome. That's not for me. Like for me, it's more about ideas. Like I want to be able to take as many ideas as I can and be like, oh, this is another tool in my toolbox which I can now use tomorrow.
Okay.
And for me, that's basically how it looks like. I'm trying to learn things from songs. And that's the most musical way for me to get practice. Yeah.
So you do both sides. You do live and you do studio work. Do you have a preference? And do you think there's something unique about live that is never there in a studio?
For sure. For the longest time, my preference was studio work. It was something I started out with, right? And for me, the comfort, like also it derives from my introverted kind of personality. The fact that I could just sit in a room for hours on end with one laptop and headphones or whatever, like when I started out, and just do my thing, and in the end like have a piece of music, and that was really fulfilling for me. And I have nobody to like judge me, or nobody around me to like, you know, like it's a really safe space. Like studios in general, it's like, it's kind of, I would say it's a controlled environment. And for all the reasons that we discussed earlier, soundcheck and all of that and stuff going wrong, live is not a controlled environment, right? And for me, I was generally like, I would say more innately like tuned to studio work. When I started getting into live, it took me a long time to get out of that mentality of like, this is, like I mentioned earlier, this is exactly how things are supposed to go, and everything has to be super perfect and super. But like that's when I started realizing what I kind of had missed out. Is that okay? Like if I see the pro of being in the studio and working on a session alone, is that I'm alone in my own safe space and like whatever. The con of that is not knowing the types of relationships that you can make with other people, and the amount of growth that you get by being in a rehearsal room with somebody or on stage with somebody who's way better than you, and you're like amazed at what they're doing, and you're just like, I need to do that. Like that's the easiest way to like improve your ability, is just like go and be the worst musician in that room, right? Because you get a real reality check, and you go back home and you're like, I need to work on myself, like this is not enough, right? And being in the studio, that actually allows you to be a lot more I would say carefree. Like right now we have ways to like quantize performance, like time correct performances, pitch correct performances, whatever, and I'm like, okay, cool, like if I don't get it in this take, then I will get it in the 50th one. Like, you know, like, but on live it's not like that. It's just one time, you have one shot, and whatever happens in that one time is what it is. And for me, it was basically reconciling the pressure of that, but also being like, it's okay. It happens, it's fine. It's the good thing about it is that it's that one moment. It's okay. It'll happen, and then you have another gig the next day. And so for me, both are like incredibly different. The way I play also is incredibly different. Like I think about it a different way. Like when I was coming to live performance, I was thinking in a very like, I'm trying to play parts or like really fixed parts. And it works in some bands, but a lot of times it doesn't work because like
you need to react.
Exactly, that's the perfect word for it. You need to react to what somebody else is doing in that moment. You can't just be like, oh yeah, in the pre-chorus, like this is what this is what I did on the actual song, so this is what I'm going to do now. It doesn't work.
Sometimes you might need to fill in for something not working also.
Exactly. It happens a lot. Like sometimes maybe like other keyboard goes down or something like that. What do you do? Well, you have to you just have to do that. And I think that somehow I feel like being a live musician makes you better in being in the studio.
Okay, great. You think like live performance and human live performance has a value in the coming future with all our digital world and Instagram reels, 15-second gratification?
So I find that a very interesting question. Something I've been thinking about a lot. I feel like the value of live performance is at a really high point right now, because I feel like people want to have experiences and experiences together. Like for a long time, like since the pandemic, we had like an entire transition. Like for example, let me take the film industry. They had a transition to OTT platforms as opposed to going to the theatre together. But now you kind of see people coming back to the theatres because you realize that going to the movies is it's not about watching the movie, right? It's about being in a room with people who also react to that movie,
Yeah.
who laugh with you,
Yeah.
who cry with you, whatever. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing with music.
Yeah, I think it's even more pronounced in music because movie is a static experience.
Exactly.
It doesn't react to you.
Exactly. And here, you don't even know what might happen on stage,
Yeah.
right? So it's like it's even better. And right now I feel like you said, digital, like as opposed to this, like everything becoming digital. If you see the trend now, like a lot of artists are kind of releasing their music on vinyl, on CD. You're seeing
I meant digital in a more overall way, not in the medium.
medium. Okay.
Like everything in the world is becoming like AI is
Definitely.
taking over jobs. You can compose a song with AI.
Oh man, yeah. It's becoming
That's
more
what I
and more
meant,
real
yeah.
every day.
So that was what I was.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, for me, what I like to see, like, what is great about going to a live concert is the imperfection, right? Like, whatever happens there between, like, the musicians on stage and the musicians in the audience is something you can't replicate digitally or with AI or whatever. Like, it's I'm saying now, okay? Because I don't know, like, it's getting scary.
Yeah.
Like, a year ago, I was like,
Yeah.
it's never gonna write a song, like, you know, and now it does.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm okay, cool.
Yeah.
I feel like it's that's again also coming back to the thing that I was saying before, like when you asked me, is there something spiritual, something beyond just, you know, for me this plays a role in, like, you know, this is where that comes in. Because I do feel like there is a connection that happens between musicians and musicians and musicians and audience. That is something beyond, something that, like, if I've, like, for example, if you see a video of a performance versus being at the performance when they performed,
Yeah.
it's a completely different feeling. You cannot get that same feeling by watching the video, right?
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
Even if you go watch Coldplay's concert film in freaking IMAX or whatever, you can't feel the same thing as being there with Chris Martin, like actually singing in front of you, and somehow those sound waves actually reaching your ear. There is a different thing, right? So I think it has a really high value. I think people are seeing that value right now, and especially with how Coldplay has come here, I feel like our concert economy in general is going to boom. Like, that's my hopes. I feel like that's my prediction, because right now I feel like of the scale, because of the scale of that concert, I think everybody, including like the government and people from other industries, are seeing how much for them it's like a money-based thing, like how much revenue you can generate. And so I think they really will consider it as a large-scale opportunity or something. Somebody was telling me this the other day, that finally, I think in Mumbai or something, they have a official like police protocol or something for concerts, like on how to go about crowd control and how all of that, which is a great thing. Like that is a step in the right direction, which means they are like paying attention to the fact that this is happening on a large level. So I think it's going in a good direction.
Brilliant. Almost at the end. If you have to think about it and say what is the essence of performance in one philosophy or one line, what would it be?
Man,
You know.
it really forces you when it's at its best, when it's done at a high level or at the very best. It's the one thing that makes you be present, and everyone be present, and you share a moment with everybody, right? Like everybody is perceiving that moment at the same time and feeling something, whatever they're feeling. And for me, that's the most beautiful thing about it, is that like you can't ever get that back.
Brilliant. Brilliant, thanks.
Thank you so much.
This has been like a very, very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
All the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you guys are doing this.
Yep. Thank you very much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed the show. You can also follow us on Instagram and YouTube @Stage Matters Podcast.